Let's see how this goes. To the top right-hand side, our red Terran. This is Clem from XCD Sports. And to the bottom left-hand side, from Wind and Rain, it's our blue Terran player, DeMusliM. A TvT here in this best-of-3 matchup as we continue through the winner bracket of today's WCS EU Challenger Qualifier number 2. So continue on our way through this, and excited to see where we end up in the long run. Excited to see who's going to be qualifying through the matches here today. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, yesterday was a lot of fun, and honestly, it feels like we're just getting started, even though we're like 4 hours in. We have so many matches left for you guys. We are going to be here for at least the next 3 to 4 hours, I imagine, if not maybe even more. So, lots and lots of action coming up, and we get this ready to party. We get this ready to go. Double gas from both players here to start this TvT. There's a really nice way to get things going here initially from Clem and DeMusliM. They're both going to mirror each other, so while a lot of the time in TvT we see a lot of one racks, you know, the one gas expands against a double gas. In this scenario, they're both going to be aggressive into each other into a slightly later expansion, so I'm excited to see how this goes. Excited to see what these players are going to be coming up with in the next couple of moments, and excited to see maybe if they have different plans for this double gas. That's always one of the it's always going to be one of the interesting things, I think, kind of when you have double gas a piece in TvT, because TvT has so many different ways you can open. You can open with like one cyclone, you can go reactor cyclone, you can even, you know, even the choice of one Reaper or double Reaper kind of at the start of the game is a big decision that can have very, it can really influence your builds, it can really influence the choices made. So, excited to see what's going on. Terrorine, loving the stream, is about to play some co-op. Listening to the 1v1 is exhilarating enough. I can get that. I mean, when these guys play especially, it can be absolutely crazy. Some of the things going on, how much can go on at the time. Some of those fights late game as well, especially, they really get me. Like, how do those guys control it? It's insane. Thank you, Terrorine, for all the support so far today. Appreciate it, mate. So we are seeing a bit of a difference here already. A reactor from DeMusliM against the second Reaper of Clem. While both go into the Cyclone and they both bypass the starport, Clem even pulling one of the workers out of gas here. DeMusliM doesn't, but both of them will start up the expansion on the low ground. So both of them expanding onto the low ground. And as they both expand onto the low ground and Cyclones come up, it's looking pretty similar. Again, the double Reaper against one Reaper does give Clem a bit of map control initially, but as the Cyclone comes out, it can push those Reapers away, so it's not really going to be like these two Reapers are going to get a lot done. Clem is sending his Cyclone across the map, though, to continue with the aggression, and now he's not going to have much to actually defend against this single Reaper of DeMusliM, so DeMusliM could maybe get something done as well, but obviously one Reaper will take a little while to kill a lot, and DeMusliM with the faster reactor does have now more Cyclones being made at a time, so that's a big positive for him. Reactoring those Cyclones out, it's going to be nice for him as we do see this Cyclone War. Obviously, the Reaper's coming in as well, though, is a big part of this. And oh my gosh, he gets the Cyclone kill. That's huge. Now, obviously, this next Cyclone or two from DeMusliM is coming out shortly. This Reaper's doing a good job. Slowed down the CC, got another kill. Reactor now into the factory of Clem means that he can get his own double Cyclone production, as we are going to be seeing that Cyclone, the couple of Reapers, continuing to fight against that CC. It doesn't quite go down. But what I do love is that Clem is going to get away from here. Oh, no, he's not! Wow, the Reaper coming in with the flank is actually getting that Cyclone kill in the end. That's nice. That is something which is a little bit of payback at least then. DeMusliM able to reset the Cyclone count, and now it's going to be a little bit more evened up. It's going to be maybe one or two, you know, one Cyclone difference here or there. It'll be a small difference, but not a major one. A few more of these Cyclones of Clem gathered together. And just on this natural ramp, the Reaper going to take a couple of shots. The Cyclone as well. A bit of a boop there. And that Cyclone gets knocked up into the sky. Clem throwing down a second factory. So we're actually going to be going in towards a second factory here. Oh, Clem is going to find himself a Cyclone as well, thanks to the Reapers. Nicely done. But the second factory is really important because it shows that Clem's going to continue being very aggressive with a mech style. As DeMusliM throws down two more gases, it's not necessarily mech as crazy as that sounds. It can still be kind of like a very tech-heavy way of playing like into bio. But without the starport, I guess it is much more likely to be mech. And obviously the armory is pretty much confirmation of that. So mech against mech here on Blackpink. Clem going to continue playing with a lot of Cyclones, and that faster second factory will help him a lot. The Armory is going to allow for the +1s to finish at the same time for both players, so neither of them have an upgrade advantage. DeMusliM has a much faster third CC, but the third CC of Clem builds in location, and while that doesn't, gain him too much here, because the flight time for DeMusliM is pretty short, it's still an extra 15 seconds or so that Clem gains back on this later command center. As the armories finish up here very soon, obviously that opens up some more possibilities, and I've seen a second army from DeMusliM, so he's going to be a little bit greedier in terms of the straight up kind of upgrades. But I am a little bit worried because Clem with the double factory already really just has straight up more units to win this with, and DeMusliM doesn't have anything in particular to help him win a fight. There's no reason DeMusliM should be able to win a fight here over Clem in terms of units. It's not like he has the upgrade advantage. It's not like he has too much of a defender's advantage either, I guess, once the third base is down. Yes, this ramp is nice, but with a couple of Hellions or even Hellbats soon to tank as well, those Cyclones from DeMusliM, they waste a couple of shots, and suddenly Clem can get a hell of a lot done himself. Here we go, he scans up ahead, so he actually doesn't get affected too badly by the initial run-up of the ramp, but he is in a bit of a clumped-up area, and so a couple of his Cyclones in the back not able to fight. He'll turn around here to retake the engagement, but he loses a Cyclone already, and this is messy from Clem. Now he loses multiple Cyclones as DeMusliM chases this away. DeMusliM loses a few SCVs in the process, but, again, the important part is that he pushes this back. And again, do remember, DeMusliM will eventually have the +1 armor. That's actually something I forgot about for a moment or so there. So eventually he will get that armor upgrade up. With that armor upgrade coming in, that will be a difference he has in favor over Clem with just the attack upgrade. So Clem, still on a little bit of a Cyclone advantage, but now it is double factory from both players, both on reactors. So the Cyclone production is going to be somewhat similar. Coming in here and actually getting himself a couple of kills with these Hellions, or with the single Hellion. Cyclone's still trying to find some more damage, but Clem just doesn't quite find the correct positioning. Comes in again now, good micro, but DeMusliM just has too much. Being in a defensive position means his reinforcements keep on coming through very quickly, and time and time again, Clem just finds himself having to back away, back up towards the upper right-hand side. 4 more Cyclones on the way from both players as +1 is about to finish, but again, it's the vehicle plating from DeMusliM that, especially in the Cyclone fights, both of the attack and armor upgrades are important because, as Cyclones, if you're tanking, especially if you're taking damage from Cyclones, the armor upgrade can be huge because those Cyclones attack so quickly and so repetitively that every single time you're kind of hitting one less, it adds up very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. On DeMusliM, 58 to 64 SCVs in favor of him. Is a little bit favored there, and again his army supply is up as well right now as he pushes forwards. Again, that upgrade advantage will help, but he is pushing into the worst location. The concave of Clem is huge, and that's why he wins out this fight despite the worst army supply going into it. Just the positioning is slightly better, and sometimes even the upgrades don't make that much of a difference when the positioning is just better as well. So much to think about in those engagements, and that was definitely one that went the way of Clem yet again. Another few Cyclones on the way out, although we are starting to see the switch in towards some siege tanks here. We're going to be seeing a Liberator or two on the way up as well. Not really seen either player contest for air control too much here. I mean, DeMusliM still doesn't even have a starport. So, as Clem gets a couple of libs up, it is going to help him a little bit. His 4th base is found and cancelled here immediately. DeMuslim's own 4th base is coming up scot-free. That's the advantage of the map control, which he's created for himself. Though he finds those Cyclones, and that's a fight DeMusliM has to back away from, and he might lose a Cyclone in the process. So Clem with another little bit of a pick-off there. This time he builds his 4th base on his 3rd, so it's a little bit more defensive. It's a little bit kind of less out there. It's less easily found by a couple of stray Cyclones, which are just hunting around on the map. 2 upgrades from DeMusliM, still going to have the vehicle plating over his opponent Clem, just on the 1 armory still. He's actually going to throw down double expansion now, 2 command centers, the first one being over here and the second one off to this right hand side. Barracks is just going to sit just out from this little mineral patch, and we are going to have the Liberator coming through the south in towards the main, potentially, I guess. Going to try and get rid of a few of these SCVs in the next few moments. Another Liberator through the top side here is Clem going to look around and just try to get rid of another couple SCVs, siege up, and pick his way through a couple bits and pieces. Just coming forwards, and this is nice, going to do nice some mining, and obviously can get some kills as well. Oh, Clem! His tanks are in the back exposed here, and his Cyclones, this is so unfortunate, because if his Cyclones actually sieged up, if his tanks sieged up, his Cyclones can actually take a good fight, but Obviously, losing the tanks immediately at the start of that is a bit of a loss. Oh my god, there's so many workers killed here. Double Liberator harass, and that is 10 on one and 7 on the other. 17 in total. Math live on stream, guys, as we're going to see that number rising even further. And obviously just a few more SCVs going down. Even just pulling away means a lot of economic damage dealt here by Clem, but he continues to just bleed off units. And can he sit defensively enough at home to stop DeMusliM from continuing to push on forwards? I'm not sure if he can. These units of DeMusliM continue to push in towards the upper right-hand side. A tank shot firing away here or there. Viking or two will land as well. And we are going to be seeing DeMusliM with a lot of units here. Clem knows he's lost a lot of units himself and that he needs to hold on. He'll give up some of his SCVs to do it because he's killed so many SCVs of DeMusliM in the process. If he can just hold on to this, maybe there's a way for Clem because of the worker damage he's already done, but his units keep on disappearing. And it seems like DeMusliM might just have a little bit too much as he continues to push on through into the natural. And well, I mean, another tank shows up for Clem right now, but he has to continue doing so much more, and DeMusliM will retake an SCV lead with 45 workers killed himself. And we are just going to be seeing a tank going down. A couple of Cyclones continue to fight as well. And it looks as though this is pretty much going to be it, right? I mean, yeah, I think we're done. I think we are done. I mean, Clem just doesn't quite have enough, and it's GG. DeMusliM wins out in game number 1. Acid plant. Sorry, they just sorting out a game for our second screen so we can bring you guys some updates here and there. As we get into this one though, to the bottom right hand side, our blue Terran player. This is DeMusliM. 1-0 up in this series. And we do have to the top left our red Terran from XCD Sports, Clem. So, getting set to go, getting into this one, Clem and DeMusliM, game number 2. And I love a little bit of a mind game that Clem just plays here. Just throws his barracks down behind the natural mineral line, just like, you know, in case DeMusliM does SCV scout, which he actually doesn't, he just wouldn't necessarily see what's going on right away. And he might see this lack of structures up here as a threat and proxy, and he might overcommit to a defense, which actually doesn't need to be made. Obviously that is one way that Clem can just sort of begin to take a bit of a lead very quickly in the game without actually really doing too much. It's going to be having the Reapers about to finish up on either side now. Reactor finishing up for DeMusliM. And the factory will be finishing soon. Once again, DeMusliM goes for the single Reaper here, and Clem will go for the double Reaper. So we'll see where we go from here. And we'll see what will continue on. Just going to be seeing that reactor from DeMusliM will be finishing very soon. And we are going to be seeing the Cyclone on the way up from both players. So far, pretty much the same opening as what we saw in game number 1. Clem is also about to throw down an expansion. He's just a little bit late on it. Really for no reason. 500 minerals. I guess he was just waiting for this SCV to... this SCV is blocked behind the barracks, so he's waiting for the barracks to lift off after the Reaper build. That does actually make some sense, so... That's slightly later CC, but just a small mistake there. As we are going to see the double Reaper coming in. Oh, it's close enough to get the kill as well. So that is a dead Reaper from DeMusliM. But with the Cyclone out again, it's this sort of situation where... Is this sort of situation where obviously the Cyclone can just push back those Reapers? It's interesting to see where we kind of go from there. We're going to see the Cyclone comes through. The Reapers have to back away. Cyclone shows up though, and obviously this can start getting out of hand a little bit in Clem's favor, because now Clem's going to come in, he's going to be able to push that Cyclone back, and it's a similar scenario to before, where maybe he can slow down this CC by quite a bit. The Cyclone survives though, which is at least something, as we're going to be seeing this CC takes quite a beating. Obviously the double Cyclone makes it a lot more harder for Clem to actually continue attacking here, and so he does just have to back away, but still somehow, one Cyclone against the 3, finds himself a bit more damage, so nicely done. Another Cyclone coming over, but it's so hard to fight 2 Cyclones against 3. Even if you have a couple of Reapers on your side as well, it just isn't going to happen. Factory is on the way up here from Clem in the main base. Reactor dropping down on the barracks. 2 more Cyclones on the way out. Remember that this factory is behind this mineral line. We're seeing kind of the same setup as last game. Clem goes for the faster second factory. DeMusliM goes for the faster third CC. So a bit of a different way of playing this out from both players, showing us kind of the same, a different route into the same, kind of end, or maybe not even end game, but mid game or end point. It's going to be seeing the couple of Reapers coming around, seeing what they can do. Cyclones are good enough to push back those Reapers. Third CC of Clem. Drops down. Armor on the way up here from Clem in the back of the main base mineral line. We're going to be seeing the army of DeMuslim's looking good at the moment, though. 6 Cyclones against 4. He just killed 1, but again, just having that slightly faster reactor does pay off for him in that slightly earlier Cyclone lead. Let's see if he can do something about it. Last game we saw a lot of back and forth from the Cyclones, with positioning being a very key feature for both players at certain points to kind of take good fights and other ones. As we are going to be seeing the few Cyclones. Well, this is 5-on-5, and it is a slightly better position immediately for DeMusliM, but then 2 Cyclones get caught in the back. We are going to be seeing Clem able to push that away. Third command center coming up from Clem in location once again, same as last time. As we do see DeMusliM actually turns to fight this here. Clem scans up the ramp to be able to actually keep on chasing those Cyclones. His Hellion comes in to actually keep on the damage, and eventually he will get a kill on the Cyclones if he continues with this Hellion like this. And the Cyclones again dangerously low. The Hellion pulls back, still alive, even if only just. Just the fact that those Cyclones are low means they can go down so quickly in a fight, and obviously that can be very devastating. SCVs might have to pull in here. I mean, just the fact there's more Cyclones might make it difficult to really commit forwards, though. And I think Clem might know that. First Cyclone in the front is a lower health one, though, and it does go down. Cyclone for Hellion. Clem backs away in a general, just getting his orbital up. With the map control, DeMusliM hasn't moved his own orbital into position, but he is going to move into position down here now. +1 vehicle weapons on the way up from both sides now. The armory on the way up from DeMusliM. As we do see the couple of Reapers dropping grenades, and Cyclones just being bopped all over the place at the moment. Now Clem making 4 Cyclones at a time. DeMusliM is not on a second factory still. That is a very late second factory from DeMusliM, and that might start to really hurt him here, because Clem's Cyclone numbers are going to start going through the roof. And little fights like this where he just gets himself a lone Cyclone, it continues to peel himself into that better position. He also has the couple of Reapers which are trying to dive a mineral line, but deflected once again. DeMusliM leaving Cyclones in positions, but now he sees this one Cyclone chasing away here, and Clem gets the idea, maybe that's where I can find myself another Cyclone kill or two to continue to advance my lead in the Cyclone count. These 2 Cyclones need to be careful, though. Clem is going to rally them into the Cyclones of his opponent, and that's just 2 Cyclones given up for free, and that is just straight up mistake here by Clem. As you're going to see SCVs starting to pull in. DeMusliM realizing he's in some trouble here with the Cyclone numbers. Cyclones pull back away. They do not really want to take the fight where the SCVs are part of it, knowing that that is just hugely beneficial to the SCV player, because if the Cyclones just get tanked for a little while, if you lose a few of your Cyclones without killing any, the fight just so quickly snowballs into favor of your opponent. Cyclone on Cyclone is a very weird compositional battle, and it is so volatile. It can change in an instant. Now, +1's about to finish from Clem. Can he take a fight with +1 against +0? He's going to have to go now, and I'm not sure if he wants to, because a lot of his Cyclones are beaten up. So he's just going to be pulling back up towards the top side, and then he can repair on up and get those Cyclones back up to full health. +2 vehicle weapons here from Clem, starting up right now in the main base. 4 more Cyclones for DeMusliM coming through as a couple of these Reapers coming all the way around the right-hand side. DeMusliM drops a 4th command center as well. As you do see a few of these SCVs pulling in and just making their way towards these Cyclones to repair them up and to get them going nicely. So again, these Cyclones just being repaired, and as the Cyclones get repaired, they can start moving out onto the map. I'll have a little bit of a look to see what else they can do. A few Cyclones here from DeMusliM just sat in front of this orbital, as we are going to be having moving forward as well. Clem's going into this with a +1 vehicle plate in disadvantage, and that's something DeMusliM can work with, but does Clem just have enough Cyclones? No, he doesn't. Wins on the top side, loses on the south side. It comes down to a very similar Cyclone count, but again, that plating upgrade is so huge here. The double upgrades from DeMusliM, once again, carrying him forwards in some of these fights, same as in game number 1. And now he comes up here, and he's just not quite going to get that 4th base before it finishes. And that's a little bit of a shame, because he could have maybe actually got the straight-up kill there, although he might still, because Clem doesn't lift it. Oh, Clem. That was a mistake by him. He's killing a lot of SCVs across the map. 15 workers. Liberator harassment going huge yet again. And obviously this Liberator is just going to stick around. Those Cyclones took forever to deal with it. So Clem is once more in this position where he's killing a lot of workers. Exact same as in the last game. This time DeMusliM doesn't necessarily have the army supply advantage. You just push on in and be like, okay, cool, let's do this, you know? Cyclones turn around again and they will start to work their way through those rocks. A 4th base coming down on the far right-hand side for DeMusliM. Rocks are cleaned out, and of course now the Cyclones can maybe push on forwards. Take a little bit of an engagement here. Can DeMusliM push on through now with the army supply advantage to make up for the 15 workers that he's down? I don't think so. If the tanks in the background, they just do so much splash damage over time here in the fight. A couple of Vikings landing as well, and yeah, those Cyclones of DeMusliM, they may take a while, but they'll end up going down, and he doesn't break Clem, and Clem will hold on with the income lead, although that said, 4th base of DeMusliM is already in position, so that is something which is going the way of DeMusliM. He has that 4th base up a lot faster. Killing this base over here before was a huge mistake by Clem. Allowing that to happen, I mean, that just shouldn't happen. And this sort of level of play, not lifting that against those Cyclones was a massive, massive mistake for him. Command Center lifts up and starts to move over here now. Clem's still just sat on 78, 80 SCVs. He actually needs to be careful not to build too many SCVs because he's still building a couple more. So he needs to be very cautious not to build too many more of this right now. You see +1 vehicle plating on the way down, +2 vehicle plating on the way up from DeMusliM as well. He still has a few Cyclones in the front. He has it back at home. He is actually still mostly only making Cyclones. Obviously Clem's moving into more traditional mech play with the siege tanks starting to come on up. Both players starting up a Liberator or two as well. Obviously Clem's already used a couple of those to great success in a couple of harassment moves. Let's see if he can find more. DeMuslim's kind of getting the memo as well. He's like, whoa, those Liberators do quite a lot. I wonder what happens if I make a few Liberators and try and get something done with them myself. Because if DeMusliM can find himself a bunch of workers killed, obviously that would be a massive, a massive plus for him. As we just have a moment or two here, guys, we do have the Stefano Braddock game on the way and underway on the side screen. And currently, Braddock is losing out. Stefano's starting to clean up his main army. He's got roaches in pretty much all of Braddock's mineral lines, and Braddock is actually just going to tap out of the game right there to give Stefano game 1 of that best of 3. So Stefano takes the first game of the series, and that series does continue off over on the second screen. I'll give you guys more updates of that as it goes. As for now, we're going to see a few Cyclones approaching forwards, and we do see a tank already here firing away. Another tank sieging up in the background. Now the Cyclones trying to find a location where they can really fight into, but I think Clem just has enough. He sieges some tanks further forwards now, and the Cyclones get pushed back. But it's another 11 SCVs killed, so that is something that DeMusliM at least doing some worker damage here, as this game has been a bit more back and forth, a little bit closer between the two of them. DeMusliM leading in the series, remember, means that if he does win this one, he goes through to the next round, and Clem will have to play from the lower bracket. A lot of these units setting up on the right-hand side of Liberator sieges, and we do see 4 SCVs going down, 5 SCVs going down. Again, another few Cyclones relocating themselves out over to the right, and see a few tanks, Cyclones and Vikings getting ready to get going. Liberator caught over here. Unfortunately for Clem, he's not going to be able to get this one in to get much done. Clem has this forward 5th base, and suddenly Clem's exploding in terms of bases, where he just built a few moments ago. He's just like, okay, I'm going to build 2 command centers, and now they're both set up, and he's really taking a stronghold in the center of the map. This is not a lot of units from DeMusliM. I think Clem realizes that, and that's why he's just pushing straight on into it. As Clem's tanks siege up, this is devastating damage being done, and DeMusliM loses so much over here. I mean, a couple of Vikings here as well. I mean, they're going to go down as Clem lifts up his Vikings. So the right-hand side is one of the bases of DeMusliM, and Clem's going to start pushing towards it. And DeMusliM has to find himself a defense, but he only has a couple of tanks. He really doesn't have much on the ground, and Clem is starting to realize that now. His tanks will siege. They are in range of those tanks if he starts to get the shots off, which he will. The Vikings will win the fight in the sky as well in Clem's favor. So Clem wins that fight too, and again, Clem is just continuing to push on forwards, looking to tie the series up 1 game apiece. Looking to push it into a game 3 to keep the action rolling in this top side of the winner's bracket. Wants to keep himself alive here. If you win this, you're a couple of series away from qualifying for WCS Challenger. What an amazing run it would be for Clem to qualify straight through to Challenger in his very first attempt. Well, not attempt, but his very first Challenger that he's allowed to play in. Planetary Fortress goes down to the right-hand side. To the far left, we do see this command center is going to relocate all the way down to the south side, as we do see Cyclone's tanks pushing their way through a couple of refineries here. This couple of units are spreading themselves out, and we do see a lot of tanks from DeMusliM sieging up towards the front. 4 SCVs have gone down in the last few moments, and we are going to be having a few more missile turrets from DeMusliM on the way up. Planetary Fortress coming through on the 4th base, which he just retakes now. Tries to counterattack with some Hellions, but there's units all over the place from Clem to just deflect this. I mean, these Hellions might find a mineral line, but they're going to get a couple of shots off, if that, and not much more. 6 SCVs is nice, but it's not going to turn the game around when you're 60 supply down, and Clem is feeling confident enough to take the centralized gold base in his favor. Clem does not want to walk up that siege tank line into that position, though. He needs to be a little bit cautious about that. The issue is if Clem pushes around the left-hand side, DeMusliM can very quickly unsiege, push forwards, and siege up one of Clem's bases. So Clem needs to be very careful about actually maybe moving around this left-hand side, but again, DeMusliM lacks the map control to maybe even see it happening. He has no sense of tower setup compared to Clem. Clem just has units all over the place, even a couple of random missile turrets. DeMusliM will have a few Hellions running around. Tanks did just siege up over here, and Clem once again unable to find much just yet, and DeMusliM will be able to buy time. But as Liberators come out, obviously they're going to be able to push back those siege tank lines because Clem holds the air control. The Vikings heavily in his favor, and as he pushes back this siege tank line, obviously that's going to be very frustrating. So those tanks have to unsiege, and they have to try and get themselves into a position which, which is going to be able to defend once again. We're going to be seeing the tanks just getting ready to push up in this direction. This siege, they're a little bit late to the siege party, and so they will take a little while. And actually, it's going to be some good trades from DeMusliM again, although he will lose one tank at the very end. Just doesn't have the vision to continue firing. Hellions on the left side got taken down, so DeMusliM wasn't able to find anything with that. And another Liberator sieging up here. And as we just see, the air control is just unbeatable at the moment. DeMusliM knows he's in trouble. He's building 4s to try and help himself out with that scenario. Liberators actually find themselves another couple of siege tanks there, and it gives Clem the progress in towards DeMusliM's natural. DeMusliM's going to start moving forwards with these set of units, which I thought was something he definitely could have done right away if he'd kind of thought about it. Obviously just not realizing it in time. And now even the factory which is building a 4 might go down. Even if the 4 pops out of here, I think it's just going to go down so quickly that wouldn't even matter. I mean, saying that, it just goes down so quickly anyways. 16 SCVs down. I mean, these tanks do siege up, and it's an annoying position, right? I mean, Clem, you know, he doesn't really have much in position immediately to deal with that, but a couple of Vikings actually, I guess, could land here and just get rid of those tanks, because the tanks aren't able to fight that far away while sieged. And DeMusliM realizes that he unsieges a couple of those tanks, so the Vikings will get taken down. I mean, it's an annoying position, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not something that's, again, going to turn around the game compared to Clem's position. He's just sat between all of the bases of DeMusliM, and as he just sits here, obviously DeMusliM is just running out of time before he loses too much, and he knows it, and that's why it's going to be GG. Clem takes game 2. We're tied up 1-1 in the best of 3. We're going to a little bit later on. Alternatively, the brackets are there for you to check out if you would like to. And as we kick this off, game 3 on Backwater. Oh, we've had some fun times on this map the last couple of days, as we have to the top left-hand side, the Blue Terran from XCD Sports. This is Clem. And his opponent to the bottom right-hand side is the red Terran player, DeMusliM from Rind and Rain. If you're enjoying the stream today, guys, we just set up into this game 3. Do remember to hit that follow button. We are going to be live pretty much every day this week. Tomorrow, I'm going to be casting the WardiTV Invitational number 3 Group C, featuring Solar, Lambo, Optimus, True, and Maxed. On Thursday, I cast Group D of the same tournament, which is going to be featuring Puck, Creator, Impact, Keen, and Mana. And on Friday is our playoffs. On Saturday, we have ourselves, we'll find ourselves something to cast. And on Sundays, go for SC2. So lots of StarCraft 2 action coming up the next few days for you all. I'm really excited to be able to bring it all your way, bring you guys a whole bunch of StarCraft action. So hit the follow button to see when I'm going live with all of that. I'm also going to be casting on Base Trade TV tomorrow. I'm casting the Base Trade TV Star League group, round of 16 group. I'm not sure who's in it, but I'm casting that tomorrow evening as well on Base Trade. So lots of places you can watch me this week in terms of casting. So do make sure to hit that follow button. See when I go live on this channel at least. And the majority of what I do is, of course, right here on the stream. Depot on the way up, as you are going to be seeing the factory building up in the main base. This is an interesting little depot, just blocking the kind of Reaper pathway up into this left-hand side, and in towards the third. Obviously, this depot over here does a similar job, blocking Reapers whenever possible. DeMusliM places this depot here, but he doesn't do the depot up at the top side, so... I mean, it's just, again, trying to block Reapers from getting in as many places as possible. And we are going to be seeing the Reaper moving around to see what's up. As Reaper shows up, and Clem will just have a little bit of a skirmish. Ooh, and always scary to try and turn and use one of your attacks on an SCV. What's happening in terms of the Reaper count is 2 Reapers again from Clem. Every game, it's the same sort of setup. 2 Reapers and just sort of setting up in towards the 1 Reaper of DeMusliM, because they both start to build Cyclones. So both of them are obviously very confident with how they're opening in this TvT. As we're going to see, oh, the Reaper in the in the grass gets the shots off to get the kill, and now the Reaper over here gets the kill and pushing back the SCV. One of the Reapers goes down, the Cyclone, the victor there, and that is a cute little something. A cute little win for Clem. A Reaper and an SCV for just a Reaper so far. A couple of Hellions this time from DeMusliM as a follow-up here. We're going to be seeing the Cyclone and Reaper coming in to try and see what they can do. They get another SCV. Again, Clem, the second Reaper always seems to be kind of a little bit dominant in the very first couple of moments of this early game. And always seems to have a lot of success with this first little push. But with the Hellions coming through now, he's actually not going to get that Cyclone and loses one of his own Cyclones. So that is a little bit of a shame. A couple more Cyclones on the way from Clem in the main base, so we're going to be seeing a second factory coming down. A lot of people asking what the song was during the break. You can always type !song in the chat, guys, and the last FM page will tell you what I played recently. But the last song was Steadfast by Bakermat, I believe. So, hopefully that helps a few of you guys out, as we do just have second factory on the way up in the main. Cyclone over here from Clem is just on a little bit of a patrol back and forwards. And DeMusliM with this medevac starting to boost up towards the upper side of the map here to see what else is going on. Again, just another couple of Cyclones on each side. Third CC from Clem builds up in position. It's actually the first game Clem is going to be the faster third CC player. And that's because DeMusliM started the starport here, so it's a little bit different from him this time around, as we are going to be seeing the third CC of DeMusliM starts up. What's he going to use the starport for? Well, it's the medevac to drop the Hellions, right? Because he didn't build as many Cyclones early, so he had the gas to start the starport. 2 SCVs so far, and obviously now the Cyclone's coming in. That's a third SCV. Oh, locks onto the medevac. That's a dead medevac. And that means these Hellions are going to go down too. He gets 5 workers in the end. It's nice. It's a lot of time that goes down in terms of worker binding. But he loses everything that he built up early, at least the medevac and a couple of Hellions. And what's the Cyclone count looking at? 7 to 4? 7 to 5 by the time this Cyclone pops, but it does mean that Clem has the advantage pushing across. Let's see what happens. Just going to be seeing these couple of Cyclones come up and hiding in the kind of bushes here. It's cute, but it's very scary, because if Clem realizes it and he can jump on them, obviously that becomes a little bit of an issue. And he has more Cyclones anyway, so it's not like it's a massive issue for him to actually take a fight. He's a little bit afraid, though, because of the bushes, and so he does back away for a moment. Now it's 6 Cyclones against 5, but DeMusliM, his next 2 are about to pop, so Clem will be cautious enough to back away. This time Clem is the first one with an armory. Again, did DeMusliM do enough here early to kind of justify that investment into the Hellions, and rather than kind of going into more Cyclones? I don't really think so. And look at these SCVs he has to pull off the line just to stay alive at the moment. Look how far they run. Wow, they run an absolute 1.5 miles before turning around to get back to mining. So that's a lot of lost mining time for DeMusliM there, just for Clem being on the map with the Cyclones. So it's very kind of, it doesn't cost Clem anything to do that. And oh, I love this as well, looping around the kind of expected ramp. This means that if he comes up from the south side, he has the concave advantage, and DeMusliM doesn't have the numbers advantage either. DeMusliM actually goes down the ramp initially, a little bit unsure maybe as to what he wants to do. He target fires a couple of lower health Cyclones, but he's going to lose all of his own Cyclones with a heavy number remaining for Clem. And that means Clem can continue pushing forwards. He has so many Cyclones left, and pushing on in, Clem looks as though he's going to keep his winner bracket dream alive. Even if he doesn't win this right now, the kind of advantage he may be able to take from this is huge. I love the Hellions showing up suddenly. It means that he can actually fight those SCVs so much more efficiently than having to just use his own Cyclones all the time. Because you're going to be seeing him not toggling down the Cyclones of his opponent. I mean, okay, he gets 17 worker kills, so it's not like we can complain from Clem's point of view, but it is nice for him to maybe target down the Cyclones, because if he targets the Cyclones then the SCVs, he's probably going to get just as much damage on the SCVs just because the Cyclones of his opponent die faster. He'll have more Cyclones left over. DeMusliM's scanning, he sees the third base. He sees it isn't really saturated, I guess, which is maybe one of the reasons why he thinks he can maybe stay in this to some extent. 21 workers going down. As we are going to be seeing those couple of Hellions continue to drop. And we are going to be having DeMusliM able to just throw down a few mules in the next couple moments. I mean, he has to throw down mules, right? He has to try and get some of his economy going once again. Clem doesn't actually have that much of an advantage in terms of number of units now, 8 to 6, but defensively, DeMusliM should be fine. Still an 18 worker advantage though, and obviously over time, that's going to be absolutely huge for Clem. And, you know, right now, the army supplies are Clem favored, but not massively. I'm just going to be seeing the income is massively favored as well for Clem right now. +1 vehicle weapons for DeMusliM. It's coming up to being about halfway done. Engineering Bay dropping down. Armory dropping down as well. Couple of Liberators. From Clem just going to split themselves off and just go in a couple of different directions to try and get some damage done. I mean, this is the thing, right? Clem now has a +1 attack upgrade. Now he does have a bit more of a significant unit advantage. Cyclone number is even, so I guess moving forward doesn't look like he's going to have much. As we're just going to be seeing the Aliens and the Cyclones continue forwards. It's going to be seeing a couple of Cyclones taking some damage. And we are just going to be seeing this push forwards from Clem. GG from DeMusliM. As Liberator is going to the main. They start to get a lot of SCV kills